typically on the first 15 minutes or so, what in the health is going on. And I don't want you to miss any of what this fabulous lady has to say. We spoke about 2 weeks ago, and we've been speaking back and forth. And to say I'm impressed with our guest today is an understatement. Give you a little of her background, and this is just a small piece of it. And I do like what she says on her bio, that at the very top she says, God is my pilot, not co-pilot. But she is a world champion water skier, nationally ranked NPC fitness competitor, actress, speaker, model, painting contractor, business lady, accountant, missionary, holds the world's record for the fastest speed on water. Get this, 102 miles an hour. Holds world's records with many other endeavors. And, world silver champion and team silver champions in 05 and 06. Team world champions 7 and 8. Over 20 national titles. Over 100 ski races won. She is also in the Black Belt Hall of Fame, USA Hall of Fame. 3 times world or water ski athlete of the year. And it just goes on and on. I don't want to take up all of her time. But that said, her name is Janine Avanti. Janine, thank you very much for being with me today.
Thank you so much, Warren. I'm really happy to be here with you today.
And what highlight did I leave out that you would like to mention, Janine? I know there's a lot. That's a serious question. That's not me being, flattering or anything.
No, I'm so humbled right now. I have really not heard anyone ever read that list to me before. I'm shocked at my own accomplishments. What was I, drinking too much caffeine for a couple decades, maybe?
No, to do this, and you're a young lady. Not 19, but holy cow, to do. And I didn't even touch, folks, a lot of what she did. We're talking things like the Governor's Cup, 6th in 3 classes, 16th in the Open, and that was while she was trying to recover from a head injury. She's into fitness on a national level, NPC, which is, near and dear to my heart. If you watch this show and follow it, you know that I am and have been a competitive bodybuilder. But that's just a small piece of it. And, like I said, she's inducted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame, which, by the way, tomorrow, if you get a chance, I want you to drop by 1372 Overton Park, Memphis, Tennessee, 3 to 6, because TKI is reopening in the original building that Elvis had with Bill Wallace and Patrick Wren. Patrick Wren will be there. We don't know if Bill is going to be around or not, but that said, the building that we all trained in, and that's where I received my black belt, and I'm going to be getting an honor tomorrow. I'll share with you next week. But anyway, if you get a chance, come by. Janine, wish you were in town. I know you would love to meet Patrick Wren and some of the people around
Absolutely.
that place. But now, tell me about yourself right now. You're into acting, you're into fitness, you're into nutrition. You have, holy cow, 6 sponsorships with people like Quest and others. How do you find time? You don't watch much TV, I guess.
No, I truly do not sit around and watch television. I generally don't sit around. I'm very active. I choose to be active. I do have down days like the rest of the world, but I motivate myself. Obviously, I read Bible, scripture. I do go online. I read some of the things that you post. I look for motivation to motivate myself.
Okay.
So it's up to us. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
Currently, I have 3 small movie parts lined up in the next 6 months. I'm focusing on competing in the Arnold Amateur and NPC Masters Division as I'm 44 years old.
In Ohio, correct?
Yes, I will be traveling there. Very excited to do that.
And that is is it May?
It's in March.
Okay,
I believe
March.
it's the 1st through the 4th. So I'm about 17 weeks out. I'm already thinking about it. If we have dreams and goals, we really need to, take our time to build on them and get there, especially in bodybuilding and body sculpting or any challenge or goal. As you can see, I've prepped for life, so here I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've got to ask, with everything you've done and everything you're doing, you must have had a charmed childhood, right?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all, Warren. So far
wait
from
a minute.
charm.
Don't tell me, Janine, you had obstacles to overcome.
I had so many obstacles to overcome. That just scratches the surface to say that they were obstacles. So you were just lucky to be able to fall into all this, I assume, right? I think that I took maybe the fears that were created in my childhood or the abuse that I survived. And I could see that other people were happy and successful around me at a young age. I wanted to know the Lord. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be successful. There was drugs and physical abuse in my home as a child.
Yep.
And so once that finally ended in my late teens, I opted for the better. I strived for more. I reached out without the internet to people that I saw were successful, to try to find my way and overcome the abuse that I had suffered as a child. And so I put that energy into sports and success and helping others and volunteering my time to help others. In fact, the Dream Center is here right now at the house doing some work. I don't know if you're familiar with LA Dream Center, but it's a Christian-based church that helps people through recovery and rehabilitation back into life. So
well, you see,
the
reason I mention that, Janine, there's so many people that when they look at someone like you and, you I'm sure probably have trophies you've packed away many years ago and put in a storage house somewhere. And they look at people, like you and people that, like Tony Robbins, several private jets in an island and go, wow, they're so lucky. And Dwayne Johnson, who, The Rock, he said it this way: the harder I work, the luckier I get. And
it's so true. I hashtag hard work is hard work all the time.
Exactly. That in our society, so many people look at success, and rather than realizing what a miracle they are and what talents they have and what abilities they can pursue, they just lay back and relax and just sit on the couch. And right now, this being a fitness show, I've got to throw in again at least once a week. CDC has come out and we're almost 40% obese. Not beating anybody over the head with that. If someone chooses to do that, that's okay. That's your business. But you don't have to be. And you don't have to be where you don't want to be. You can change where you are.
You truly can. Like I said, and it's still difficult for me, though I've sought a lot of help, and I encourage myself, and I seek through others to help encourage me. My childhood was, I would say, nothing less than devastating, or I'm happy to have survived it and lived through it. It was truly very abusive. I did live in a women's shelter for a while as a child with my sister and mother. We were all physically abused. Mine was of a sexual nature by a very evil person. So it's been a long road, and I don't choose to live in the past. I choose to persevere forward. I do not speak about this on social media or to many people around me because I don't want them to pat me on the back or become a victim to myself by talking about it too much. But truly, we do have a choice. There is freedom of choice. And the lower the low, the higher the high, sometimes they say.
Well, that's true.
So,
that is true.
And,
I mean, it's a principle of life that so many people that have tremendous obstacles are the ones that achieve the highest heights. And
that could be possible. Like you said, It's just the way life goes, and every day is a new day, and we do have a choice. We can choose what we put in our mouth. We can choose which way we step, left or right.
It's true.
We can choose if we like our job, if we don't like our job. We can choose to perform in a sport like martial arts. I really was interested in martial arts. I didn't know how to get into it. You would think with all my accolades, oh, you just go here and go there and do whatever you want. No, I start at the beginning like everyone else before the start line. I take step one. I reach out to people who are interested in helping me, and that's how we can all start. That's how all of you out there can start. If you have a dream or something that you want to do, you have this one life, I suggest you reach out. The Information Highway, listen to Warren's show, ask a friend. I mean, everything is available to us in this day and age, and I suggest that you
and Janine, we're going to pick right up there when we come back.
Okay.
We're going to break, and please stay with me. If you're just joining, please phone a friend, because Janine Avanti is truly an amazing person. We'll be right back. This is Warren Honeycutt, 600 WREC.
Sometimes you got to see it to believe it. Check out Warren's Instagram at @GetHoneycutt. Now, back to the Get Honeycutt podcast with Warren Honeycutt.
Welcome back. This is Get Honeycutt. My name is Warren Honeycutt. My guest today is Janine Avanti. She is a world-renowned and world's record holder in ski racing, many national titles, competitive on a national level figure competitor in the NPC, and many, many other accolades. We were just talking as we left, and if you're just joining us, we were just speaking of overcoming obstacles, developing a passion, and taking a thought that is a dream and pursuing it. And this all applies to everything in life, these principles. And if you're 100 pounds overweight, all you have to do is listen to Janine talk about how she began with a thought and a dream and turned it into being a member of the World Cup. And I may not be saying that right, Janine. Help me with that. When did you start? I mean, we talked about the obstacles and, the horrible childhood you had in regard to home life. And I can relate to that. I did too. My dad was an alcoholic and abusive. And, those things, they either form you and make you stronger, or they break you. And that is all our choice. At what point did you decide you wanted to be a world record holder at all? I mean, in anything, and you hold many of them. What? Give us your background there. I mean, were you at the swimming pool one day, and what was the deal?
Well, at a young age, I was athletic. I had a lot of nervous energy. I chose to put it into after-school sports so that I didn't have to go home to the abuse. And it evolved into skateboarding, surfing, softball, soccer, and whatnot through high school. I was an avid water skier. Though our family was checkered and abusive, we still enjoyed outdoor sports, fortunately. And so I learned how to water ski at a very young age in a swimming pool, actually being pulled by my perpetrator, which is crazy. But I fell in love with the feeling, and so I pursued it and went on to barefoot water skiing through high school. And I wanted to be competitive in something that I was good at, and I didn't feel that I was good at much of anything because my self-esteem was very low from the abuse that I had suffered. And I didn't really realize that I was already an athlete because of my mindset. And I went to the California Delta out here, and I watched people water skiing, and a speed skier had come by, like 70-plus miles an hour, and I was just a barefoot water skier, and I was like, wow, I want to do that, I think. So
now, how were you now? How old were you right here?
Oh, my gosh. By then, I was like 22, 23 years old. So I was already, out on my own, doing some junior college. I was a house painting contractor. I was so driven to be successful because I wanted to cover up part of my past or just have it not exist. Or, when you're going through those younger years, you're just trying to still figure yourself out. So I thought that I was making good choices for myself by having a business or ignoring the past or whatever it was. So I was really driven to be the best I could be at whatever I was doing. And with water skiing, I just had this sense of freedom. I was alone behind the boat. It was quiet. I could get out of my mind and into my body and just feel free. And that was a big connection to God for me.
Okay.
Because I was always like, okay, I was raised Christian, but I was also abused. So God, are you there? God, are you not there? And then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, he really is there. He's taking care of me. He's taking me in the direction that I should probably go. And I had gone to a high-speed water ski race, which is, you know, you wear a lot of equipment to guard your head, your body, and whatnot. And we ski in excess of 90 plus 100 miles an hour. And I watched these people, and it was just the craziest adrenaline rush, and I had to do it. Well, then I saw a world title in 2007. I had started racing in 2005. I saw a world title in 2007, and I was like, okay, that's it. I want to be on the world team. I want to be a world champion. Oh, I'm sorry. I have the dates right. Wrong. 1997.
Okay. I was going. What? I was going. Holy cow! You did it. Okay, good. Thank you.
Sorry. Oh my gosh, the 1900s. Yes, I am older. So it was 1995, and then I started competing for the world team in 97. It literally took me 7 years to make the world team. I never gave up on my dream.
Now, are these Janine? Let me ask: are these tryouts once a year, or do you go through a process of doing amateur stuff and get to a point? I mean, I'm not sure. Being here in Memphis, I mean, I know baseball, football, and bodybuilding, and boxing, and karate, but I'm very intrigued by the process.
It's a grueling process. It's a 2-year process. The world titles are only every 2 years. They only take 2 competitors from each country. It is a very difficult team to make. It's a world-class team. As you know, in the Olympics, nothing is powered by a motor, so it only goes to a world level since I'm being pulled by a boat. Mm-hmm. So for many years, I trained. I trained in the gym. I painted houses all day. I took care of my grandmother. I was just trying to be as successful as I could. I worked on my body. I had this passion and drive to be the best high-speed water ski racer in the world, and I wasn't sure if God was going to answer my prayers or not, but I continued with it, and they created a new class called Formula 2 into the world division. I had what was not making the Formula 1 team because of politics. I had physically done well enough, but politically was not accepted. Uh-huh. So when they came out with Formula 2 class telling me that there's going to be this class in 2003, and at that time it was only 2001, I was like, thank you, God, I'm going to be the world champion. I trained so hard, Warren. I never lost a race. They had to take me on to the team. The world titles are 4 races. They're about an hour long each race in the open ocean. They're every other day. So your body is being pushed to its limits by speed and endurance. I won all 4 races. I gave all my glory to God. I literally listened to the national anthem being played for me 5 times because of the 4 wins plus the world title. And it was just truly one of the best days of my life. And it was an achievement that, talk about having patience. 7 years to make a world team and 1 week to win it all.
Right. Let me ask this, Janine. How many miles do those 4 races cover?
Generally, in the ocean, we do ski a little bit slower than we do on rivers because of how rough it can be. So, I mean, you start off going in the 90s, you slow down into the 80s, and by the end of the race, your body is just beat. You're in, upper 60s, lower 70s by then. The races can be 62 miles to 102 miles long. It's an incredibly grueling speed and endurance. It was my passion. Ski racing is my passion. Water sports are my passion. So I went for it while doing, regular daily things like a job and family and household. So it can be done. If you want something bad enough, you can achieve it. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
Well, Arnold, who you may know, I only know of him, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, I read something the other day he said, which was to me very motivating, and it was, we all have 24 hours. If you sleep 6 and you work 8, that's 14. That leaves you 10 to do anything in the world you choose.
I believe it. I'm so surprised you're saying this right now. My post yesterday on social media at 11:58 at night was, thank you, God, that I have 24 hours in this day. I've done everything that I needed to get done on my to-do list, and I rewarded myself with a workout.
Yeah.
We're talking midnight, Warren.
Oh, yeah. Hey, been there, done that.
And the thing is I wanted to encourage other people to know that if you want to do it, you can do it, and that taking care of yourself and your body is a reward.
It is. Absolutely
not a punishment. Going to the gym and being able to improve your strength, your mobility, your agility, clear your mind, get the endorphins going. It's a positive thing.
Improve your mood.
Yeah, and it's free, people.
Yeah, that is. I say this all the time, that if people really knew what kind of reward it is to be in perfect health and physically fit, mentally, spiritually, the doors of the gyms would be blown over because they wouldn't be able to contain everybody. And that is something I'm. And I'm an evangelist, I guess, for and passionate about fitness and nutrition and healthy body, mind, and spirit. But all of it, it blends together. And we get involved in, okay, I've got to get the next rung on the ladder, and it's going to take me 10, 12 hours a day to do it. Fine, but you'll be able to do it better and more efficiently and at a higher plane of effectiveness if you feel good. No matter what it is.
So true.
No matter what it is. And so anyway, how many people made the team from the United States to become what you did, Janine? I want to know that.
I have to say that currently I am the only women's U.S. world champion in my division still to this day.
Okay. That's not too shabby.
Yeah, it's nice to be the only one.
You betcha.
No, it's really not about saying, oh, look at me, look what I did. It was really, for me, my own personal journey.
Yeah.
So I think for everyone.
I love the quote that, fitness or even goals is not about being better than somebody else. It's being better than you were or I was yesterday.
I was such a true believer of that. Warren, I was on a fitness journey with the NPC, which is, amateur bodybuilding. Yeah. I'm not sure if the audience knows what that is. I'm a small person. I weigh between 120 and 130 pounds year-round. So we're not talking women's bodybuilding.
No,
we're talking, sculpting. But it truly does.
I'm going to help. I'm going to get people to go to your Facebook page and see this lady we're talking about. We're going to be back in a moment, folks. Stay with us. Janine Avanti. My name's Warren Honeycutt. Get Honeycutt. 600 WREC.
Everybody wants to be friends with Warren, and you can start by stalking, or friending him on Facebook. Just find him at GetHoneycutt.com. Now, back to the Get Honeycutt podcast with Warren Honeycutt.
Welcome back. My guest today is Janine Avanti, world record holder in several genres. One of the things she's doing right now is pursuing a career, or at least a passion, in fitness and in a competitive nature with the NPC, which is a National Physique Committee. And that is the committee that actually took over the AAU, American Amateur Association, back in the probably late 80s and 90s. And bottom line is that's where all of the Mr. and Mrs. State, Tennessee, Mississippi, Texas, and then the Mr. America or Miss America is a little different genre. But the point is she is in pursuit of doing that for March with the Arnold, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding physique contest. And Janine, I want to ask you, number one, what after water skiing and all the other things you did to get world recognition, whatever possessed you to want to compete in figure and fitness, because that's another thing that very few people are ever able to do successfully on a national level. And I know I was there 6 years, so I mean, hats off to you. What got you into this?
I would have to say I thought I would be a ski racer forever. Unfortunately, I suffered multiple injuries. I have some torn calf muscles still, a broken sternum. I've done a knee, ribs, nose, so high-speed water ski racing is dangerous. I had a torn ligament in my hip back in the day, and I decided that skiing was getting a little bit hard on my body, approaching 40 years of age, and I'm 44 today. So it kind of got, out of shape a little bit. My life was changing. I was searching and looking for somewhere to put my energy once again outside of work and family, and I just fell in love with weight training.
Okay.
And it was not as abusive on my body, I would say, as high-speed water ski racing.
Yeah, I'm sure when you take a fall at 102 miles an hour, it hurts.
It's you're lucky. My fastest crash was 96 miles an hour.
Moly.
It was not a good day. It was a lot of time in the hospital, and fortunate to be alive. So on to my next endeavor, right? Well, I was in a fitness studio, and I had seen these other women training and changing their bodies and eating differently. And my sister's a nutritionist, and she's written 4 books, so I was familiar with nutrition, but I had no idea the passion, drive, dedication to transform your body from maybe a little bit overweight, a lot overweight, obese, to getting fit, to getting onto a stage. And I was really intrigued by watching these women on their journey and decided that is for me. I'm that disciplined in sports, I'm that disciplined in business because I choose to be, and I wanted to be that disciplined with my body. I wanted to get back into shape. I wanted to feel like I did in my 30s. I wanted to get my adrenaline rushing again, which brought me to the stage. It's a personal journey. It is human judgment, as you know, Warren, when you're up there. So it's another passion of mine now. I like to grow muscle. I like to diet down. I feel like it's a God-given life, and you can do whatever you want with it. So just do it.
Well, I mean, and I want people, as they hear this show, and most people listen to it actually in a podcast and recording after the show. That said, you can go to Facebook, and if you will, Janine, let people know where they can find you on Facebook or any other venues of social media.
Okay, well, my name is Janine Avanti, and I do use Janine Avanti as my main Facebook name. My page is public. I do not hide any part of my life. I put it all out there, so you can follow me. I'm not sure if I have any friendship room available on Facebook, but I do make every post public. I want to encourage and help others. They can actually private message me if they have any questions. I'm all about volunteering my help and no payment necessary.
Well, that's
just like
that is
you want,
huge.
Get it out there.
And your last name is spelled Avanti, Avanti.
Yes, Avanti.
And I would like for you to go and see what this lady looks like now in her 40s. I mean, you look fabulous, and that's not just radio
Thank
talk.
you.
That's a sincere compliment, Janine.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I feel
and
that
you do know
take
that
care
I
of
have
ourselves.
seen. You do know I have seen hundreds of ladies on stage on a national level. So when I say you look fabulous, that's on a national level, not just, I'm sure you look great walking down the street, but I'm saying, when you're up there, the world sees all your flaws. And
that's what they're looking for when you're up there. So thank you so much. I do appreciate that.
How well I know.
Well, Warren, on my NPC path or bodybuilding endeavor, I had won a few competitions, so I was very excited and driven by that. And I had an unfortunate incident. I had come home from volunteering for a sick kids cancer charity event. I do like to volunteer and give my time back. And I came home, went in my backyard. At the time, I lived on a golf course. A golfer teed off. His ball split my head open. Changed my life at that point. September 22nd, 2014. I was probably at my fittest at that age. I was preparing for another show. I was running my personal company very well. My marriage was great, and all of a sudden I had memory loss. My eyes were rolling every 4 seconds. I couldn't work out. I had slurred speech. I had to see a neurologist once a month for a year and a half. It was a tremendous blow to my ego, my life, my relationship, my business, and it really set me back. There was depression involved with it, not being able to train or do the things I wanted to do. As a thinker and with all of this energy, I couldn't perform. I couldn't remember where my keys were. I couldn't remember if I had eaten a meal. And generally, we know if we're full or not.
Yeah.
So this was another blow in my life, and I thought, is this God trying to slow me down? Like, what is this lesson I'm learning? Is this a lesson of, I'm just thinking everything's so wonderful in my life because I made it that way, and then boom? So at any stage in our life, and not just childhood, we can truly have a major setback, and it doesn't have to be death, divorce, obesity. It can be anything, an injury. It's just we all have these setbacks, and I did as well, and I chose to go through the growing pains, to work through it, to pick up a 2-pound weight, a 5-pound weight, to get my mind back right, to continue with my personal companies that I had owned at the time, work on my marriage at that time, and just work through it all and get back up there. And it took a long time, Warren, but here I am.
How long? Let me ask this, Janine, as an encouragement to people that have obstacles, be it obesity or just, low self-esteem or failure in whatever level. How long did it take you from where you were and you were about to compete? Was this a regional, local, or what level of contest were you going to compete in?
I was getting ready for, it's called the Sacramento. It's one of, if not the largest competition in California. For pros and for NPC, and so I was really looking forward to doing it, and it was absolutely devastating to deal with the nerve damage in my face, which I still have. I do turn my face away a bit, so that's something that I personally still struggle with, though I don't put it out there. I choose to speak positively on social media or to others. I'm only speaking about the negative side with you so that people can understand that I, too, deal with those personal challenges like everyone else. I just choose to try and be successful.
Yeah, I've met in my life many and been blessed with many people crossing my path that were and are winners. And I really feel that winners are the sum total of the obstacles they've overcome.
I don't know what my next blow may be, but I will tell you through trial and error and learning experiences and great character that I feel that I continue to have, whatever that next one's going to be, I'm going to, process it properly, take my time to go through the motions, know that depression's not forever, not being able to use your mind or your body. It may not be a forever thing. You can push through it. You can work through it. I've seen people who've been maimed and not be able to walk, and 2 years later can walk again. I've seen people that are 300 pounds lose 150 pounds. It can be done.
I have too. Let me ask Janine, how long did it take you to get back on stage? Let me ask that. We got about 20 minutes before we have to break again, but if you can capsule that.
Okay, so I was a touch embarrassed at the time to get back on stage because I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. But for me, I put myself on stage early after my brain injury.
Okay.
So my brain injury was the end of September, and I stepped back on stage the following March.
Wow.
I had a trainer and a coach. She advised me not to do it, and I told her, I have to do this for me. This isn't about the award. This is me beating a fear. And I was terrified, Warren.
Sure.
I had just won on that stage 1 year previous. I won overall. I won everything. I took home 4 awards, and all of a sudden, a year later, I have a brain injury. My eyes are rolling. I have no memory. I have slurred speech. I'm stepping on stage. I can't remember my routine. My short-term memory was not there.
Janine, let's break now and come back with that.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is 600 WREC. The show's Get Honeycutt. I'm Warren Honeycutt. My guest today is Janine Avanti. We'll be right back.
Like what you hear? Subscribe to the Get Honeycutt podcast on iTunes or at GetHoneycutt.com. Now, back to the Get Honeycutt podcast with Warren Honeycutt.
Okay, we're back. This is Get Honeycutt. My guest today is Janine Avanti, a fabulous, fabulous lady of accomplishment in many endeavors. Water skiing, sports. We were leaving, as we left for break, we were speaking about injuries and overcoming those, and she had a very devastating injury, and this was only 3 years ago, Janine, correct? 2014?
Yes.
And from that, you decided, and that word is the key word here, decision, to not quit when it would have been so easy to quit.
So easy.
and most of us find a place where in life we are challenged to either move forward or quit. And I love what Lance Armstrong said, and he said, pain is temporary, quitting is forever. And that is a whole volume in one sentence. And you decided...
Gives me chills. Yeah.
Well, you decided rather than quitting and getting away from, and it is painful when you're overcoming obstacles.
Yes,
nothing I have ever been around of any accomplishment, whatever level, Janine, it required to some degree, some way, mental, physical, sometimes both mental and physical and spiritual pain. Growth is painful.
It truly is. And I found in those dark days, laying in my bed with my head hurting so bad, not being able to lift weights, not being able to work, just slurred speech, pain down the whole side of my face, just everything was taken from me. I felt like I seriously was having a pity party.
Sure. Who wouldn't?
I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to work. I was just like, why me? You know, we all have those moments. Why me? And I'm thinking, I need to get out of bed. I need to move. You know, why not me? I've beaten things like this before. I can beat this. This was different, though. It was brain injury. You know, you break an arm, you wear a cast. You cannot mask a brain injury. Right. So this was a huge challenge for me. It was depressing. It was painful. So I have learned through that experience that you have to become comfortable with being very uncomfortable.
Okay. Say that again, Janine. That is a jewel of wisdom.
You have to decide in that moment of pain and depression that you have to be okay with being uncomfortable. You have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you have to know that if you do not take your step forward for yourself, you're not going to move out of that space, ever. It's a choice.
And so whether we admit it or not, Janine, I honestly feel when we don't move forward through that pain, we lose much more, we lose something that is much more valuable than what ever it is in our life that's holding us back.
Yep.
And I don't know that I said that exactly the way I wanted to, but my point is you lose self-respect and you lose the love for yourself because that little seed in you that, in my opinion, God planted to overcome. And when you squish that seed, you become less a person and you feel less about yourself. And
I hear what you're saying. Without challenge, there is no growth.
That's
so
it.
if you want growth, you have to take the challenge.
I have a friend.
We all know that if we choose to just sit back in our pains, then we are literally just sitting back in our pains.
That's it.
Like, move through them, move forward. You have to do it.
I have a friend that was terribly obese, 407 pounds at 5'3", and she made a decision, and she still has to make decisions every day because she has very strong addictions to food. She has lost over 200 pounds.
That's incredible.
And
that is
she was on my
so
Facebook page, and I'm flattered every time she says it. And she had a picture of my book, and she sent me a message and said that I was her inspiration. And what she doesn't realize, Janine, people like her inspire me.
I was going to say she's an incredible inspiration for so many others out there.
Yes.
I mean, it's easy for you and I. We're already fit right now, right? But
it's easier to stay there and get there. And I didn't have to lose 200 pounds.
Exactly. And it is maybe not even day to day. It is often moment to moment.
Yes. Yes. I love Bob Seger. He's a great songwriter and in my mind, a great lyricist. But he had a song years ago, and it was called Little Victories. And he was talking about going from one moment to the next. And we don't have time for me to get into my dark history background, but there was a year in my life, and I won't even get into any of the details, but I was so depressed that I would go to bed many, many nights literally hoping I did not wake up.
I hear you, Warren. I've been there. I think everyone's been there. You know, if I weren't a believer, sometimes I think I'd be gone.
Well, I know I would be, Janine. And during those dark moments and those dark times, and we're not even talking about shadows, we're talking about pitch black midnight.
Right.
When I woke up, I was not happy. And when you can go, I say that only to say, when you can go through that and come out on the other side, it is very amazing what takes place internally. And I learned that all of our dreams are one step beyond our greatest fear.
It's so true.
And so
you're giving me chills. Oh, God, right?
Well, my producer, and I have started writing a lot of these things down. They just kind of pop out of my head, and I say them, but my producer has encouraged me to write them down, and I have started doing that. And actually, someone told me the other day I needed to write another book and just put those things in the book. We'll see. Who knows? But thank you.
You'll do it.
And, you know, between everything else that's going on in your life and mine. But you got back into fitness. You got back into competition. And have you been on the national stage yet, Janine?
I have. I've actually been on the national stage for the last 3 years, and I've placed in the top 5 all 3. This past year, I did not do a proper prep for myself, but I chose to challenge myself, prep for 5 weeks, and hit the stage, and again placed in the top 5. So, you know, I'm back on my way.
To help people understand what that top 5 means, in the nationals, we're talking about top 5 in the nation.
It's very difficult. It's not like high-speed water ski racing, though I love having those world titles. There are many people in the gym, as you may know. There are many people that are super fit. The national level at competition is huge. It's thousands of people. So to take a 4th, I'm ecstatic for myself, for my journey.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always want to include that. I don't want to put out there that I'm just trying to win, you know, this or that to say that I've won it. I'm truly not. It is really a personal journey in whatever endeavors we take, whether they're fitness, work, you know, passions, family, dreams, goals.
I found this, Janine, that if we do anything to please somebody else, it is very shallow and very short-lived, and frankly, most of the time gives us no satisfaction.
I was going to say the feeling of fulfillment. You know, you could become very disappointed in the other person's reaction. It may not be what you were looking for.
Exactly.
So, yes, I agree with you, Warren. Do it for you, everybody. Do it for you.
And,
That's a whole nother show.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of another show, I hope you will come back and be with me on another show.
I would absolutely love to. I would love to. We didn't even talk about what I'm doing today. I had just moved to L.A., which is a difficult thing. It's another challenge.
Absolutely.
Moving my whole life from Northern California to Southern California. I went for a job interview. I'm happy to say I'm a certified personal trainer, and I'm going to be helping women at an all-women's facility.
Good for you.
Go for their hopes and goals. So,
well, that's one of the greatest fulfillments I have is helping people do some things that they decide to do, and I simply give them a roadmap to follow and encourage them to get on it and start taking the steps. And, you don't lose 100 pounds in 2 weeks. You just don't.
No.
And, that is a unrealistic expectation. And
it is.
If you help people understand, like you're beginning to do and in your new job, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Then people need to know it's a bite at a time. It's a day at a time. It's one step or two steps forward and one step back sometimes.
Yep.
But you forgive yourself and you move forward. And I love what Stallone said in one of his movies, and he was talking to his son. And it was one of those, roadside chats. And you may remember the movie, and I know you'll remember the quote, Janine, but he said, in life, it's not how hard you can hit. It's how hard a hit you can take and keep moving forward.
Yep.
That's good stuff.
We are some strong people, all of us, everyone listening. You're stronger than you think you are.
I have a friend, a good friend, that was in charge of all of the security in Baghdad back in, the day when Iraq was hot and heavy. And he was a colonel. And he came back and he told me, he said, Warren, what I learned over there was this one thing. When you think you've gone as far as you can, when you think you've taken the last step you can take, you realize you haven't.
Wow.
And that I've kept that with me ever since he brought it up.
Absolutely.
Janine, what else is going on? We've got 1 minute, but we're going to get back, actually, depending on your schedule, in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So.
Oh, my gosh. For me, well, I have 3 movies that I'm shooting over the next 3 months.
Wow.
So I actually put a little bit of weight on. Thankfully, it's my bulking season for the NPC because they want me to be a little curvier.
Right.
I'm going to be shooting guns, and I just like to dabble in everything. I'm being inducted into another martial arts Hall of Fame.
You've got to come to Memphis and go to Elvis's school. I mean, that's a historical hall.
I would love to. I just studied under Samuel Kwok.
Yeah.
I should say Sifu to be very respectful.
We've got to go, Janine. Doggone it, we're out of time. And thank you much. This has been a ball for me. Google.
I've enjoyed it.
Google Janine Avanti. You'll be surprised. This is Warren Honeycutt.
And my Instagram.
Yeah,
Janine
Instagram.
Avanti or F2 World Camp 03.
Yeah, Janine, I'm sorry we are out of time. Folks, have a great weekend. Hope to see you next week. And this is